Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Talk at Elevation, the show where we dig into the mindset behind elite performance. I'm Michaela, joined by Addison. Today, we've got a special guest with us who's redefining what it means to pitch like a champion, Tim Nolan, or as the baseball world calls him, Ball Game. The author of The Psychology of Pitching, he's coached record-breaking staffs, helped athletes reach the pros, and even guided the first female pitcher to sign a $1 million contract. But before we get to know Tim, let's dive into what Fan Day Nation can offer your athletes.
Parents, this winter, give your athlete a real edge. Fan Day Nation creates highlight reels, teaches recruiting education, and builds confidence so they can stand out to college coaches. Learn more at fandaynation.com, where athletes rise.
Basketball, wrestling, or swimming, your winter season deserves visibility. Fan Day Nation delivers highlight videos, recruiting education, and mental performance coaching to help your athletes reach the next level. Visit fandaynation.com and get noticed.
Thank you so much for joining us, Tim. Before we kind of dive into the book that you've created, where did the nickname Ball Game come from?
In 2017, I was coaching baseball in Shelter Island, this little island on the easternmost part of Long Island, for a summer league. And it was a really fun experience, I'll just put it that way. And the players are like, we're going to call you Ball Game, Timmy Ball Game, and it just kind of stuck.
That's great.
I love it. What a perfect nickname.
Yeah, right?
I'm pretty good at beer pong, I'll put it that way.
So that's the real story.
You go. That's how you got the name.
There we go.
So let's talk a little bit about your book. What inspired you to write The Psychology of Pitching?
For the past 10 years, I've been doing consulting on the mental side of pitching, and I've been getting really good results. I wanted to do a book. I reread Mind in Society by Vygotsky, and I wanted to do a book that kind of takes Vygotsky and applies it to pitching to help pitchers kind of reach. There's 5 levels of transformation in the book. Each of the 5 sections you read, and then you get to higher and higher levels of thinking and performance. So it's all about using self-directed neuroplasticity to get yourself to an elite level.
Perfect. I love it.
Sounds very scientific.
Yes.
That's awesome. You often say that pitching is offense, not run prevention. Can you explain what that means?
Yeah, so front offices in MLB, they have a term called run prevention, and it's basically treating it as if it's inevitable that runs are going to score. It's focused on the wrong things, kind of like the whole thing of don't think of a white elephant. So I teach pitchers to think. I'll use good language on here, but I normally use bad language to sum it up. But I teach pitchers to think in terms of how many hitters can they send back to the dugout where they came from, out production. So you want to think in terms of what you want instead of what you don't want.
It's a good way to think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Why do you think so many pitchers and coaches focus so heavily on the mechanics instead of their mindset?
Because mechanics they're external and they're visible, whereas mindset is happening inside the pitcher's mind. So it's a lot more challenging.
How do you kind of make them overcome that and kind of get in their head a little bit more to focus on what they're actually doing?
A lot of it is I focus on the pre-pitch routine, which is a concise set of steps that you go through before each pitch. And when pitchers see that they get results, then other pitchers tend to buy in. But yeah, there's all these facilities out there, these multi-million-dollar facilities, and they mainly focus on mechanics and pitch metrics. And pitch metrics are important, mechanics are important, but it all starts with cognition. And in my book, I talk about this model that was inspired by Albert Bandura's triadic reciprocal causation model, where it starts with causation, mechanics, and then pitch efficacy, how the ball comes out of the hand. I guess that's where pitch metrics come in. And then there's the hitter's response, and then the result overall. So there's those 5 factors, and it's the 2-directional relationship between all those 5 factors right there. But it all starts with cognition.
Okay. There you go.
Lay it all out.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Before you kind of talked about how there's 5 different parts to your book, the 5 mental tools. Can you kind of walk us through those and what they are?
Yeah, so I use the acronym PITCH, P-I-T-C-H. The first one is presence. You want to carry yourself with presence. It's cognitive, emotional, and physiological control, focusing one pitch at a time. And then there's intent. Intent is basically you want to be in the FU mode. You want to throw every single pitch that says FU to the hitter. I'm being good.
We're proud of you. You're doing great. Let yourself shine. It's
Yeah,
all
it doesn't. We're good.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Because I don't know if you saw my other podcast that I did with my buddy. I just zero filter. But
We love it.
trust, the T is for trust, which is pitchability. The pitcher that signed $1 million contract, it's all about having the any pitch, anytime focus. And then the C is for command. Basically, you want to throw the ball where you want, when you want. And then hitters away, which is how many hitters you send back to the dugout where they came from. So those are the 5 mental tools. And then within the 5 mental tools, there's 5 components that go along with each mental tool and help you to internalize the mindset. And pretty much most pitchers can become an 80 out of 80 in the mental side if they learn what I teach.
There you go. Quote him.
I like that. Yeah. How do you start like a young pitcher starting to develop these techniques and this mindset?
I tell them and their parents that it's all about how many hitters they can send back to the effing dugout. No, I'm totally kidding. Yeah, I tell 8-year-old kids that.
For sure. I got to start them young.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to learn it eventually. Why not just do it now?
Yeah. No, in my book, I talk about the WSF philosophy that I learned from Paul Abbott. Paul Abbott was my pitching coach in junior college. And basically, it's work ahead, stay ahead, send the effing hitter back to the dugout where they came from. But when they're young, like when I'm working with a younger pitcher, I can just say work ahead, stay ahead, finish the hitter. So it works.
There we go. Go both ways.
Yeah, there you go.
What is the biggest misconception about the mental side of pitching?
I think it goes back to an emphasis on mechanics and focusing on externally visual stuff. And it really stems from behaviorism, an emphasis on behaviorism in psychology, whereas my approach is very cognitive and behavioral, but strong emphasis on the cognitive aspects. So it really just goes back to having a pre-pitch routine, mindfulness, and being aware of the 5 mental tools. And that tends to skyrocket pitchers' value and their performance. We kind of covered it earlier, but this past year at Laguna Beach High School, the year before I got there, they won only 10 games. This past year, we won 25 games, struck out 271 hitters. The record for the program was 220, and we had the lowest team ERA in school history, which was a 1 flat. So, I came in and I took these pitchers and just basically brainwashed them, really. It's brainwashing.
It works. You send them back to the dugout.
Where they came
Yeah,
from.
there you go.
Exactly. It's a mental repetition, and you play how you practice
100%.
aspect of it too.
For sure. For pitchers listening right now, what's one thing they could do to shift their mindset and help them pitch better?
It depends on what's going on with them. It depends on which of the opposite 5 symptoms that detract from the 5 mental tools that they're experiencing. So, for instance, if they're struggling with presence, they need to work on a pre-pitch routine, which is breathe, visualize, have a mantra to direct your intention like the hitter, say it over and over in your head, and then throw the ball with intent. So if you have that pre-pitch routine, that's your anchor. It's your reminder that you're about to throw the pitch with intent so that it's too much for the hitter to handle. If intent's an issue, the catcher or the pitching coach can kind of get under the pitcher's skin a little bit. If they're overthrowing and just trying to light up the radar gun, then pitchability is good for them. If command's an issue, or if they lack discipline, then they need to go on a mission and figure out why they play baseball in the first place. And then if they struggle putting hitters away, then they need to work on being more of a cocky prick.
Finally, last question for you here. Where can listeners find the psychology of pitching and connect with you in your training programs?
Okay, I have a Twitter X account I have a Instagram, I have a TikTok, where I started this thing called Ask Ball Game, where I take questions and then I answer it in like a 1-minute video. They're kind of raw. Just a side note, I'm really into punk rock music and I love how raw the music is, like the imperfections of the music and how raw and aggressive it is. Like, I just love it. So I wanted to kind of replicate that in my own practice with what I do. So Ball Game 5MT is my Twitter, my Instagram, and my TikTok. My book is on Amazon. There's on my social media accounts, there's a link to my author profile with a link to the book. And yeah, they can get it there. I actually have 11 books that they can check out, but Psychology of Pitching is my most recent. And I personally feel like it's my best work. I actually tried to quantify what can't be quantified. I developed math equations to kind of quantify each of the 5 mental tools.
Nice.
That's cool.
Put a lot of work into it.
Yeah, what does that mean? You use math equations. How did that come about?
I was on AI, and I was just curious. I asked it a question, how do you quantify deception? And then it gave me an equation, and I was like, that's awesome. So
You're like, let's go.
There you go.
That's awesome. It seems you really know what you're talking about. You've got it all figured out. I mean, 11 books, that's huge success. Congratulations on your side of that.
Thank you so much, Tim. Is there anything you want to leave us with about pitching or any of your other books that you're proud of that you want people to check out?
I have a book on the mental side of volleyball.
Okay.
Nice.
There you go.
I love
Jack of all trades.
I love beach volleyball. Like, the technical aspects of the sport, like, I don't know a whole lot about.
Thanks so much, Tim. We look forward to learning more about you and looking at your books that you've written. And thanks so much for joining us today on The Talk.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.